Welcome back to World Building 101. This is part 6.5. I'm going to go over the New World. Everything I've done since 2 months ago, 3 months ago. I don't actually know how long I've been working on this. So, firstly, as you can see, I made a new map. Second, everything's in Roll20. And what I'm going to do right now is use this Roll20 cheats, and that way I can see more of my map and really give you guys a good view of things. Down here, I decided on a different way. Last time I'd made a whole world map, and that was that. And this time I decided I'm going to do region. And now more classic D&D settings are in regions. Like the Sword Coast, that's a coast. Like, that's it. It's in the Forgotten Realms, but it's just a coast. And it is host of 90% of the adventures in D&D for 5e. So you don't have to have a whole world map. And the next thing I want to go over is my specific region map and why I decided on this. I wanted a different type of game. I've played a bunch of games recently that are all the classic fantasy, go out, explore the world, do things, a pre-established, there's cities and such, which we're not scrapping all that, but I did want it to feel different. And so I talked with the potential players, and I was asking them about what they'd like, and we landed on an exploration style game. And so I spent a lot of time researching the best way to do an exploration type of game, and hex crawls are one of them. Now, hex crawls sound super grindy, and I don't particularly want to do it that way, but the hex travel system makes the most sense. And so what I've done is started in this small region right here, and I decided that this town that you can kind of see through the GM layer, which I think I can change the opacity so that you can't see it at the moment. This small town is where the players are going to start. It's not named. They're going to name it. The ship marker is the ships they're going to arrive on. They are going to be refugees fleeing from some event. I don't know yet. I've been playing with some ideas, which we can talk about here in a little bit. They're going to be fleeing. They're going to come here. They're going to land with the job of establishing the initial settlement so that the next wave of people will have somewhere to stay, and they'll be more of the experts. So you'll have the first rugged survivalists, and then the experts arriving in the next wave, and then more refugees as time goes on. But this is a completely new world to the players. They're going to land, and they're going to have to explore. So instead of them being given a map, and they're like, here's the world, this is what you can see, they're only going to be able to see this tiny, undarkened area. That's all they're going to know. As they move and explore, I'll reveal more and more more things are going to happen. But I wanted a real feeling of danger and randomness. So what I did was I started making random encounters. I started using two systems, really, because Pathfinder 2 at the moment doesn't have a lot of random encounter tables. So I went and rolled on the D&D tables and then took those monsters and grabbed the Pathfinder versions and was using them for a while. And then I bought the Pathfinder cards and sorted them all out and made a shuffle deck. I know, big nerd. But I made my random encounter tables, and I've been setting up some random encounters and some preset encounters. And what I mean by that is, yes, lots of random encounters here, but also right here is a goblin settlement. And the goblin settlement is part of the story. So as they move through, they're not going to hit many of the random encounters. That's kind of the point of the exploration. If they roll good, they don't have one. And if they roll bad, they might have one, or they might get lost, or both. And that's going to lead to a very interesting story dynamic. And it's been a nice challenge for me having to sit down and try and map out a story that they might not land on for a while. And so what I decided was to populate directions with story-based events that will lead them to the story and random encounters. So if they go in any direction at the moment, they'll land on something that'll lead them to the story. And that's important when you're doing something like this. Because I care more about my story than I do rolling dice and them getting big numbers and all of that. We're all very story-based gamers. But I also want it to feel like they're having to explore. I want it to feel like the story is there and they're discovering it as opposed to me throwing it at them. So I'm making it pseudo-random. And that's important in this kind of storytelling. And I have an idea. I've had it for a while, and I don't know if I like it, and I might scrap it, which I mentioned in the last video, is these power cores. They sound good on paper. Oh, there's something in this new land that powers up the monsters around it. Just a little bit in the weak ones, a little bit more in the medium ones, and further and further and further. As it goes up, I think a medium, strong, legendary. I think there's 4 tiers. Maybe there's 5. And then they're all connected, and if you break one, you start breaking the connections. Something happens. I haven't decided yet. And I haven't decided if breaking them are good or bad. I find it interesting if the breaking them makes the monsters weaker, but also weakens something else that could be dangerous, which might be the way I go. I may have just solved my own problem while sitting here recording this video. But that's fine. I mean, that's kind of what these videos do, right? So that's sort of the way I've got it going right now. I've also been toying with resource gathering. And there was a Kingmaker campaign Kickstarter a while back that I funded for 2E. And I really want to get that book in, because I think it has a lot of rules that I'm trying to come up with myself right now. It's got a lot of ideas that I want to take from and apply to this. And I could be entirely wrong. It could not be the thing that it could be different than what I'm thinking, but I think it will work here. I think it'll do me a lot of good to have a Kingmaker campaign here and be able to apply some of the kingdom building aspects once they get there. The next thing I was thinking about, and I want to run this by my players again just to see how they're feeling on it, is making the game a generational type of game. Which means, let's say that they play from 1 to 3 as one person in this family, and then they die. Or they, we cut and we do some time skip as things are being developed and more people are coming and more of the world is being developed. I don't know if I like that idea either. I just have to kind of figure it out. And, feel free to throw some suggestions down in the comments as well about how that would work. But I was thinking, give me some backstory for your guy and his family. And then afterwards, their character has a child or something. And that child's backstory then becomes the game they played just a little bit ago. And then the child starts out at level 3 because I'm not going to keep resetting them to level 1. That's boring. But that also gives players, because nobody's played Pathfinder 2 here, except for me, the DM, and that lets them explore different classes and different combinations and a bunch of different things as they move through the world. And that might be cool. Maybe I'll only do like 2 generations. Maybe I'll go 1 to 10. I like that idea better. Go 1 to 10 as like the first generation. And then maybe 2 or 3 generations down the line, you have 10 to 20. Which could be really interesting. So that their parents set up the first half of the act, or the first half of the story, tell a full story with them, going to level 10. In that story arc. Take that story arc, use it as a backstory, and grab the children, or even further down the line. I could go like 100 years later, which 2 generations, isn't it? Yeah, it's 2 generations, which was just said. I'm just repeating myself now, just ignore me. But don't ignore me, please keep listening. And from there, you go on. But I'm way ahead of myself, because I don't even have a timeline for this world yet. But building the world is going to be really different. Normally, like I was saying, you have the whole world and you're fleshing it out. But I don't have to do that this time. I just have to flesh out where the players will reasonably be within like a month of playtime. So 4 game sessions I'd like to have fleshed out in every direction every time they move. So if they go all the way to the power core over here, I would need to flesh out a lot more. But that lets me really build my story slowly, which has been fun for me, being able to just sit and build out flow. And I'm probably going to flesh out more than that, because it's more than a year now. It got delayed. It was supposed to come out in November, and now it's not coming out until November 2021. So for a year, I might start this campaign before that comes out and then go back and change things, because I'm going to get bored sitting on this. I've had a really good time making it. But really all I wanted to talk about was where I'm at right now. I'm going to be making a timeline. I'm going to be going back, looking at my old videos, seeing where I was at, and trying to get back to that point so that my next video we can move forward in the world building. But I'm going to be doing all of that on Twitch. I'll be streaming all of it. If you guys want to come in, you can ask me questions. Not sure when I'm going to be doing it yet. Probably this weekend. Maybe Friday. Don't know yet. But that's really where I'm at. That's what I wanted to let you guys know. So please, once again, like, subscribe. It's really going to help me out. And comment down below. Comment ideas. Comment questions. Comment compliments. Comment suggestions. Comment whatever. Except for don't comment hate. You want to comment some helpful tips, some nice criticisms, go for it. Just don't be hateful. That's all I ask. Thank you guys. Have a great day.